I am now joined by News 10's Jasmine Dean. Jasmine, we're talking about a recent story you did last, what was it, Thursday, I think?
Yeah, it was last week. It was a pretty amazing story. I got a chance to speak with someone who did something great out in Jeff Davis Parish.
My grandfather, Peter LeBlanc. And I did not put her up to this. I had no idea this was happening until it was kind of already planned. But Jasmine, what drew you to this story?
Well, of course, I have the areas Jeff Davis Parish and Acadiana Parish, but I like to take a look into Jeff Davis Parish since it's the furthest. And when I saw that there was someone who was being celebrated for basically serving the community for 50 years, I was like, man, let me look into this. And I reached out to the superintendent out in Jeff Davis Parish because it turns out he has been driving school bus for Hathaway High for the past 50 years. And I was like, that is pretty awesome, especially, you know, with people experiencing a shortage of bus drivers. So the fact that he's been driving for 50 years, I was like, that drew me to it. And of course, when I had the opportunity to meet him and speak with him, I mean, he totally captivated me. I was sitting and speaking with him and we just got emotional. It was so beautiful speaking with him.
And I was so excited to hear that you were covering this story and doing a little feature on my pawpaw. And I'm really excited to watch it again and for you guys to watch it, maybe for the first time if you didn't see it last week. So let's take a look.
What I can see, a lot of kids today need a lot of help, you know, and if I can take them and put a smile on their face in the morning, it makes my day.
Peter LeBlanc has been driving school bus for the Jeff Davis Parish school system for 50 years. He says he started driving in 1974 after his father, who also drove school bus, retired.
My dad was retiring. He had drove for 38 and a half years, my dad. And the fella come and offered me the job back then.
Peter says while driving school bus, he also farmed for 45 years, but ultimately his love for driving is what lasted. He says he initially thought he would retire after driving the standard 30 years.
And here I am today. I'm still driving after 50 years.
He says as long as he is in good health, he will continue driving each year.
Well, I figured I was going to make my 30 years and then I was going to just retire, you know. You maxed out really at 30 years. Well, I hit 30 years and I was still young.
Peter says he loves picking up and dropping off kids because it allows him to share the love they need.
I says, Doc, if you have any doubt on me driving a bus, we carry the most precious cargo they have. I said, you put me an X. Because I says, I couldn't live with myself if I hurt these kids.
People like Jason Jagno at Hathaway High says what Peter's doing is remarkable.
And can you name somebody that's been driving for even 20 years? You know, to get that far, to start the year I was born and to continue to drive until today, is really remarkable.
Peter says one of the best things about driving is being able to watch generations of families ride his bus. He says even his grandchildren and great-grandchildren ride it.
Honestly, for me, it's been a unique experience my whole entire life. Having friends throughout my grade talking about how this is their favorite bus driver, how they wish that or how some of the friends wish that they could ride his bus for their route. And they just really like him as a well-respected person.
I love how the cousins were thrown in there because it's funny because it might look like a lot to some people, but I was telling you that's only half of the cousins that I have. We have such a large family.
That's what they were telling me. And the great thing about it was he took me on his bus route and he was like, hey, you want to stop by the school? I said, sure. So we're driving. I feel like I'm on a field trip. Once we get off there, they say, would you like to see the kids? I said, the more the merrier. And one by one, they kept coming out. I said, wow, this is amazing. So for them to just be able to speak to his character and just how sweet of a person he is, you can actually see it and just feel it in his conversation. It really reminded me of my grandfather because he used to drive for EBR Parish years ago, and I was telling him, just thank you so much for allowing me to do this. It really touched me so. And I wanted to share that story with other people, and when I found out it was your grandfather, I was truly elated. I'm like, Small world. So.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it, and I'm sure he enjoyed it too, even though I know he was a little bit nervous, but he did amazing. And I have to ask before we go, what did you think of the teeny little town of Hathaway?
Oh my gosh, it was so sweet. Okay, so just driving through there, I'm like, this is so peaceful. I can see how they're just so sweet because everyone there knows each other.
Right.
Everyone just seems like they're having a great time, just enjoying life out there. It's truly amazing. It's like I could see myself moving out there.
Well, thank you for covering this story on My Pawpaw. And if you guys want to rewatch, you can head over to our website. It'll be up there for you guys.